That was weird. You heard that? Did you?
Yeah, dude, that came off on my thing. I
I
don't
know.
know. It said that it happened to me the other day when I was interviewing someone. Sorry.
Sorry, that was mad funny. All
Yeah.
right. I'll just cut that out, whatever. It's funny. All right. Welcome back to the finale of Ballaholics, the show for those who simply can't get enough of basketball. I'm your host, Sam Israel. I am joined by my co-host, Ian Mills, for the last time. Ballaholics, this is it. This is what you guys have been waiting for in July. You know how it is, right after the NBA Finals. Ian, I can't believe we're already here.
Yeah, I mean, it's been a wild ride, not just for Ballaholics, but for the NBA season. It's bittersweet. It's a very bittersweet thing. Obviously, no basketball for a couple months now, but also it's bittersweet. It's kind of culmination of a lot of hard work from you specifically for this season finale or series finale to take place.
Exactly. No, literally exactly. And we're gonna get into, we're gonna do a little reflections at the end of the show, towards the end. But we have to first start off with basketball. We're not done yet. We're not dead yet. We still got the NBA Finals. We have to give our reactions to the Milwaukee Bucks and the Phoenix Suns series. Obviously, the Milwaukee Bucks were down 2-0 early on, but they fought right back in and captured that series. Giannis Antetokounmpo has his first NBA championship now. Ian Mills, I want to know all your reactions to this NBA Finals.
I couldn't be more happy. Going into the playoffs, I kind of co-opted, kind of adopted the Bucks as like my team, so to speak. Because I just love Giannis. I think he's just I think personality wise, he's probably the funniest player in the NBA. He's just such a good guy. And going into the finals, I kind of felt pretty confident with the Bucks. And then after obviously the first two games going down 2-0, that confidence really turned into definitely some anxiety towards it. But you just had to roll with the Bucks. I saw something where Mike Budenholzer, obviously he's gotten a lot of hatred in the last couple of weeks. Because he just kind of just seemed like not making much changes. But after the first three games, obviously the Bucks were down 2-1 at that point. The 3-point attempts from the Suns went from 35 attempts to 23. So there were adjustments made. I mean, we saw Drew Holiday, struggle a little bit offensively, but defensively really stepped up the last couple of games. But the biggest thing for me is it kind of proved that, Giannis not being the shooter, obviously, it's different because remember a couple of years ago, obviously, when the Warriors had their dynasty going, we all thought that, the way to win your championship, the way of the future was the three. And it definitely still is. It doesn't, one championship doesn't change that. But to see Giannis, who's kind of doing his own thing and just bulldozing opponents, I mean, he made DeAndre Ayton look small. And that's crazy. I mean, that's insane. So I'm not just happy for Giannis, but the Milwaukee Bucks in general, for the state of Wisconsin. I think it's a really cool thing. Obviously, when Giannis signed with the Bucks this past offseason, or re-signed with the Bucks this past offseason, it was almost as if, people were saying, well, he just signed 5 years, never going to win a chip. He just signed his life away to, the money and being a small town guy, even though Milwaukee's not really a small town. But he went out in year one and proved everyone wrong. I mean, that it's possible to do it in a small market, possible to do it with really only one star. That, not taking anything away from Chris Middleton and Drew Holiday, they're not stars. They're great players, but they're definitely not stars. So for him to do it, especially in a season where injuries plagued a lot of the league, the Bucks seem to be pretty healthy throughout, and that's a great thing to see. And even when Giannis was out, the Bucks looked still pretty good. So I'm happy all around with it. I think the NBA, it's one of the more, this season was one of the more pure things where it's just kind of well, who knows who's going to win? And we all thought it was going to be Nets, Lakers. Obviously, pretty early on, we figured out that wasn't going to be the case. So I think it was really cool. One of my favorite NBA seasons in recent history.
Exactly. And like you said before, not that, it's great to win in a small market, and not that it's impossible to win in a big market like the New York Knicks. Maybe in a couple years, the New York Knicks might have what it takes. But let's get back to the segment. I'm not going into my Knicks. I'm a suffering Knicks fan, but not bad season from the Knicks. I'm not trying to make the storyline about the Knicks by any means. So let's bring it back. Let's bring it back to the NBA Finals. It was difficult. Things looked gloomy. Things looked daunting for the Milwaukee Bucks early on in the series when they were down 2-0. They looked like underdogs. They looked defeated. People were going after Mike Budenholzer, like you alluded to earlier on the show. You know, he had this Milwaukee Bucks team. They're a team that we've seen in the playoffs several times, and they've always failed to make a deep playoff run. So I had other friends like Z, obviously, saying, Sam, they're going to win the chip this year. But you hear that every year. You don't actually know if that's going to happen. It wasn't that clear. But they get the championship, and I feel like every single player on this Milwaukee Bucks team was constructed to perfection. I give major props, major respect to John Horst, the GM of that Bucks team, and the head coach, Mike Budenholzer. And all these players on the Milwaukee Bucks all are underdog stories. And that's what I love about teams that win it like this. They're always underdog stories. Chris Middleton, I am on the record on this show saying that Chris Middleton could not be your second option if you want to win a championship. If you wanted to win a championship in Milwaukee, you needed to trade for Bradley Beal or another caliber player, like even a Jimmy Butler, or you need James Harden. That was what I said on the show. I owe Chris Middleton a major apology because he completely proved me wrong in this series once again. Of course, people are going to go after him. Okay, you have inconsistent games here and there, but you have a 40-point game in I think it was game 3 or game 4. That was huge for the Milwaukee Bucks and their confidence because we all knew Giannis was going to be there in this series. He was playing well the entire series. I remember one of the first 2 games, Giannis started. It was a scene. They cut to the Milwaukee Bucks during the timeout. He was blasting them because he wanted them to put more effort into the game. Chris Middleton came through. He was the second best player. In order for them to win, he needed to be the second best player and to be a dynamic scorer, and he was. Jrue Holiday for this Milwaukee Bucks team. This guy, we all remembered him from Philadelphia several years back. He went to New Orleans, and we kind of forgot who he was. We kind of underappreciated Jrue Holiday, but I think that he was necessary to win this championship. He was that necessary ingredient. And even when they traded for him, again, I owe an apology. I was on the record saying, why trade for this guy and give up all these first-round draft picks or whatever? It made no sense whatsoever. But we saw it in Game 5 and Game 4. He put the clamps on Chris Paul and Devin Booker, getting swipes late in the game, stealing the ball from Chris Paul and Devin Booker. I remember that play, and I was like, that's game right there. That's game right there. Because this team, what they were missing last year when they were playing the Miami Heat was a dynamic playmaker. Jrue Holiday brought that to this Milwaukee Bucks team. He brought a grit, a grind. This is a team full of dogs. Brook Lopez, of course, another cool underdog story because, we knew about him with Brooklyn. But again, he faded kind of into the depths of the universe. We didn't even know where he went. But he comes to Milwaukee. The Lakers dropped him or whatever. They let him go to Milwaukee. Look at him. He's also balling out. And, of course, Bobby Portis. He was a former New York Knick. We love Bobby Portis. He's an underdog, too, because, he used to be a New York Knick. And if you're a New York Knick and then you go on to win a championship, that is a major accomplishment, even though he didn't do it in New York City. But of course, I'm building this up because the biggest underdog is Giannis Antetokounmpo. Giannis Antetokounmpo, sons, his parents were born in Nigeria. They were immigrated to Greece from Nigeria. Giannis Antetokounmpo never played, not never played. Giannis Antetokounmpo didn't have citizenship in Greece for the first 18 years of his life. His parents didn't make that much money. Giannis was not supposed to make it. He was not supposed to make it. And he played to the United States. He played for Milwaukee. And it's just beautiful to see. It's beautiful to see, what he's done. I remember even his rookie year when he was in Milwaukee, he sent money home. He was at a store and he was trying to get to, it was 0 degrees in Milwaukee. It's freezing, snowing and everything. And he sent all his money away to his parents, so he didn't have a ride to get to the Milwaukee Bucks arena. He was literally walking. He was walking as an NBA player. He was walking to the arena from a store. He got picked up by these Milwaukee Bucks fans. He was wearing jeans. He was wearing jeans and a short sleeve shirt or something. This is the same guy who last year made the bag, had the opportunity to join forces with Steph Curry and join his super team like LeBron James did. He didn't do that. He said, I'm going to stay in Milwaukee. I'm humble. I'm going to stay in here. I'm going to stay in Milwaukee. I'm going to do it here. He didn't join a super team. He stayed put with this small market team, even when the other options seemed like a no-brainer. He stayed in Milwaukee and he gets the championship this year. And it's one of my favorite stories to watch. And he's one of the most likable players in the NBA. And I'm very happy for Giannis Antetokounmpo and this Milwaukee Bucks team. That's my overall reaction to this series.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's hard not to love the guy, not just from like a personality wise, but he just seems like the nicest guy on earth. Like after the finals, going to Chick-fil-A and
Chick-fil-A, yep.
yeah, going to Chick-fil-A, getting the half Sprite, half lemonade. I gotta try that now. Sounds amazing.
What are we trying? What are we trying?
You didn't see it, so he went on live stream.
No, I know he went to Chick-fil-A, but I'm saying, what did he get that you got to try?
Well, he got like his drink. He said, "Let me get half lemonade, half Sprite, no ice."
Half lemonade and half Sprite.
That's it. I mean, you're making just Sprite more lemony, which I feel like that sounds really good, you know. And also, like, you got to think about it this way: he probably didn't drink soda all season, so like this is like something he's been thinking about. You know what I mean? So like, I think that sounds cool. But yeah, something like a cool guy. Happy for Milwaukee. Happy for Giannis. And you know, I'm excited to what comes from here.
Yeah, and one more thing, of course, my other reaction to the series, and I guess now we're going kind of on a pessimistic note, but Chris Paul, this is your opportunity to deliver a championship and to have a championship to your resume, and that's the biggest thing in your career where people go after you because you haven't won a championship. This was your opportunity to strike. You failed to strike this year, and because of that, it's going to be that much harder in the future to win a championship. Now, I'm not like other people. I do think Chris Paul has what it takes to win a championship in the future. I think he can join forces with LeBron James and Anthony Davis and form a super team in LA. He also could stay in Phoenix, try and run it back with Devin Booker and them. Or if he really wants to, have some fun, he could go to an East Coast team, to a big market team that hasn't tasted winning in a million years and deliver a championship to my New York Knicks.
So you want to take a cursed star and send them to a cursed franchise and think that they'll win a championship? I don't even think he'll leave Phoenix because obviously they just got to the conference finals. Or sorry, they just got to the finals. But sending a cursed player to a cursed franchise, mind you, it's not like
maybe two opposites attract.
When Chris Paul was out, this team was still good. I mean, like Devin Booker was far and away the number one option. I mean, he kind of fell apart in the finals a little.
Booker was there.
But that's what I'm saying is like, for the Knicks to give up future assets for an aging Chris Paul.
No future assets. We simply sign him. We get a paper. We say, Chris Paul, sign this. We have your former agent. We'll finesse your contract. Come to New York City. Come with Julius Randle. Too much to handle. Emmanuel Quickly, too quick. We got RJ Barrett, the Canadian. We got a team here, Ian. We got Mitchell Robinson.
Instead of having a gentleman's sweep, you'll just lose in 7 in the
first round. We got to block this monster. Ian, I will say this. The New York Knicks, we like a playmaker and a closer. Chris Paul is literally both of those things. It would be a match made in heaven, especially under Thibodeau's system of defensive grit. Chris Paul's a dog. He'd bring that to New York City. But that being said, if I am Chris Paul, I'm going to LA and I'm getting my chip because that's the biggest thing I need right now in my career.
I mean, yeah, championships are obviously the biggest one for him. Whether, LA can afford him or LA wants to, grab him, whatever it may be. Even if the Lakers signed Chris Paul or somehow got Chris Paul, whether, however it may happen, I don't know if, I don't even know if that makes the Lakers the favorites. Like, obviously they were favorites this year, and LeBron and AD were kind of banged up, but adding Chris Paul, I don't know how much that really elevates your status from. I mean, obviously you would think that they were a championship competitor this year, and they lose in the first round. So it's one of those things where I don't know. I mean, I also if you're Chris Paul, would you go from a team that you were in the finals to a team that you beat in the first round? I don't know if they would do that.
It's tough. It's definitely something that we need to continue to monitor. And also, of course, I wanted to give shout outs to the Phoenix Suns roster. I thought that they put up an impressive, show throughout this playoffs. Devin Booker is here to stay. DeAndre Ayton's here to stay. Mikal Bridges is here to stay. They have a bunch of young players on that team, a bunch of young studs, and they're going to come back. They're going to come back stronger. And it's funny because I didn't even have them going as far as they did. So just to be in the NBA Finals was impressive in itself for me. So I give them major props. And I think it was a very classy move for Monty Williams to go into that Milwaukee Bucks locker room after they won the chip. The other reporter that said that he shouldn't have went in, like that guy smoking crack or something, because that was a very classy move for Monty Williams to go into the opposing locker room and wish them, that it was a good series and that they played well and they deserved the chip. I like that a lot.
Yeah, I think the Monty Williams thing was fine. I think it was made like a bigger deal than it had to have been.
I think it was a little sensationalism from the reporter wanted to, I'm not really knowing that much, so I'll go after this guy for trying to do something nice.
Yeah, it was Amin I think his name's called Amin El Hassan. He works for Dan Le Batard now. But yeah, I think he's I don't hate the take that it was like a little weird, because like, yeah, I mean, it is a little weird, but at the same time, like, it's harmless. I don't think
there's no need. No, there's no need for it. In my opinion, there's no need in it. But
yeah,
I respect it. Those were our reactions. We got one segment down to the go on this Ballaholics finale with me and Ian Mills. Let's get into the second. Let's jump right into it, Ian. Giannis Antetokounmpo is 26 years old. Has Giannis Antetokounmpo, is he reaching greatness faster than LeBron and MJ?
Is he reaching greatness faster than them? Yeah, I mean, technically he's won a chip younger than they both did. I mean, obviously, yeah, you would like to think that like he's on the same trajectory. I don't know that he really is. I mean, yeah, he won a championship. That's amazing. You have at least like 2 or 3 more to be in the conversation, I think. And he is probably, the best player in the league, if not like top 3, top 4, obviously. And I think he proved that, which is crazy, especially at the age of 26. To do it with a small market is giant. Obviously, a couple years ago, everyone saw the tweet where Kobe, he was asking for a challenge from Kobe, and Kobe said championship next. And obviously, he now goes out and does that, which is great. But with Giannis, my only concern really is like, first off, if he were to go the rest of his career without winning a championship, I don't think there's a problem with that. I think he's still the impact he's had so far, and assuming he continues to dominate, even if they don't win again. Because obviously, like next year, you would think the Nets will be healthy, and that series is way different if James Harden and Kyrie Irving are in every game. You know what I mean? Way different. So if Giannis can grab, another star, like an actual star, not to belittle Chris Middleton and Drew Holiday, I think he has a chance. But for him to do this year in and year out, it's going to be hard because the circumstances were definitely in his favor this year. Also, another thing that concerns me with Giannis going forward, something I mentioned earlier, is he can't really shoot. And obviously that was something that it wasn't a big deal, but it does affect players' status down the stretch in the fourth quarter, when instead of going to Giannis on every possession, they're going to Chris Middleton. And it's mixed. In game 6, they were going to Giannis, and he was making his free throws in game 6, but it's not something, obviously it was a problem all series. So if he can get that down, I mean, it's hard to criticize a guy who's won 2 MVPs, a guy who has a finals MVP and a ring at the age of 26. But yeah, the shooting is a big deal, I think. Just because, it belittles, or it contains him a little bit. He in the fourth quarter, he's not going to be the guy taking, the 3 to win the game when you're down by 2 or whatever it may be. He's still one of the best players in the league. Absolutely. And his career trajectory, yeah, he could be one of the greats. That being said, like, to be one of the greats, to be a top 5 guy of all time, that's incredibly hard. That's a crazy status to have. And if he does get there, I'd be more than happy. But it's one of those things where it's like, I got to see it to believe it. After 1 ring, I'm happy for him. But yeah, the circumstances definitely helped him out. And there's nothing wrong with that. It's not his fault, but it is what it is.
Yeah, I think that's completely fair. He's 26 years old. We don't know what's going to happen in the future. But I will say, based on what I see now, I think that many people will disagree. I think the biggest point you disagree with is you say, okay, well, fine, Giannis may have more of the stats, but the eye test indicates that LeBron James was, the GOAT coming out of high school. He's been hyped up. I get that argument, but what I want to do today is I want to present the argument that Giannis Antetokounmpo at age 26 is reaching greatness faster than LeBron James. I have the stats here to back it up. I have them right in my notebook right here. I'm put my pen right here. Here we go. Ready? So, Giannis Antetokounmpo, not only Ian Mills is he an NBA champion right now, he is a 2-time league MVP. He is a 5-time All-Star. He is an NBA Defensive Player of the Year. He's a 3-time All-NBA First Team, and he's won the Most Improved Player award. So I just want to quickly get to that Most Improved Player award. I know I spoke about it before, being the underdog from Greece, and then having to, run to the Milwaukee Bucks arena and getting, picked up by fans. However, Most Improved Player. They were down 2-0, Ian Mills, in this series against the Suns, and they came back. They were resilient, and they came back. Before that, people were surprised that they came back. I knew that it was going to be a lot closer because 2 series before that, it was against the Brooklyn Nets. Everyone thought the Brooklyn Nets were going to win the championship. Giannis Antetokounmpo, once again, down 2-0 to Brooklyn. They come back. They come back against the team that was supposed to win the entire thing. Brooklyn, they come back. MJ and LeBron at this moment in time, at age 26, LeBron James did not win a championship until he was 27 years old. Michael Jordan did not win a championship until he was 28 years old. Let's also not forget that LeBron James choked in the first finals against the Dallas Mavericks. Giannis Antetokounmpo scored 50 points in Game 6 with the money on the line, with the legacy on the line and everything. 50 points. And he shot over 85% from the free throw line. He had like 15 free throws, 15 for 16. It was some crazy stat. Talk about resilient. He has the better stats right now at this age because he has a championship, and Giannis stayed with the same team. He didn't just go and join a super team in Miami. He didn't form a super team with Dwayne Wade. He didn't form a super team with Chris Bosh. He stayed put in Milwaukee. He said, I'm going to win a championship where I got drafted, in Milwaukee. That's what MVPs do. That's what GOATs do. So he has that over LeBron, because not all championships are equal. They're not, Ian. Durant has 2 championships. Do you think that Durant's 2 championships mean more or hold more merit than Giannis Antetokounmpo's 1 championship in Milwaukee? I don't think so. What let's hear.
Well, here's the thing: is you're saying, all championships aren't created equal, and you're right, they're not. In that same breath, we're talking about what Giannis has done when we should be talking about, what will come from this. Not all championships are created equal. That's accurate. That is factually accurate. At the same time, going into this season, if everyone's healthy, if every player in the NBA is healthy, the Nets are the favorite, not the Bucks out of the East. That's my point. It's like,
and Milwaukee beat them. Milwaukee beat them.
Yeah, with the
down 2-0. Giannis said, go home. Goodbye. Bye, James Harden.
The Nets are banged up.
I won a championship in Milwaukee.
Right, and that's great. And I couldn't be more happy. I love it. It's one of my favorite rings, one of my favorite seasons. I was just mentioning that, but I'm just saying, if we want to go to what's next for Giannis, what's next for the Bucks, it's going to get harder. It's hard to continue what he's been doing. And at the same time, it's if the Nets were entirely healthy, like, we might just be saying that stinks for Giannis. He should have gone to a super team. And I'm happy he didn't go to a super team because he did get the ring. And I think it's a lot more interesting, not just for small markets, but for NBA fans in general. I think it's very interesting. I think it's fun to see a team that really only has 1 star. And obviously Giannis is extremely marketable. He's an incredible guy. But yeah, you're saying, not all championships are created equal, and that's true. I'm happy for Giannis, but is Giannis's ring here, as great as coming back from 3-1 against the best team in the history of the NBA? No.
Yeah, you're right. That's a huge championship for
right. So that's what I'm saying is like, going forward, Giannis needs a lot to prove. And he even said to himself, he doesn't actually need to. I'm sure he's more than happy, but if he wants to be top 5, he's going to, it's going to get harder. It's only going to be harder. That's all I'm saying. Yeah,
but by no means was I trying to cast aspersions at LeBron James for his championships. They are worth a good amount, LeBron James, especially the one in Cleveland, most notably. He won 2 championships in Miami. All I'm saying is, you talk about LeBron, you better talk about Giannis also, because listen, Giannis Antetokounmpo at age 26 has a ring. He didn't go to a super team. He didn't have to go to Miami to get that ring. to get those first 2 rings. He didn't have to when he first went to the NBA Finals, his first NBA Finals appearance, he didn't choke when the lights were on. He didn't choke. He scored 50 points in that last game. LeBron James in Dallas. LeBron's a great player. He's easily greater than Giannis right now. But to be fair, LeBron James had problems. He had challenges to win that first chip. Giannis didn't have that same challenge in Game 6. We saw that. He had 50 points, Giannis. So you saw it. He's won a chip quicker. He has 2 MVPs, like LeBron did. He stayed with the same team, and he was clutch in his first NBA Finals. I think that's a strong argument for Giannis right now, on pace to reach greatness faster than LeBron James, and maybe even the GOAT MJ.
Well, LeBron's path to the finals, it hit early on when he was 23 in the finals, was way harder. It's harder than with than Giannis. Literally, the Celtics formed a big 3 to get to the finals in favor of LeBron. I mean, LeBron's roster in those Cav years were way worse than what.
Yes, good. Okay, that's the winning argument. Like I'm not, because I never said that Giannis is better than LeBron. I agree with you. I think it's because of the roster difference. But I just want to say Giannis has a very, very strong case.
Absolutely. I am not disagreeing with you. I think Giannis has an opportunity. He has an opportunity right now to become great. But I don't want us to be like, oh, he's 26 and won a championship. He's going to win 5 more. Not necessarily. Like it's the odds are not in his favor this year. I mean, if anything, it's gotten worse. I'm happy he did win the finals. I'm like, even if it's my last finals, my only finals, that's more than okay. And I agree with him. I think it is more than okay. To do what he did is incredible. But it will only get harder from here, at least next.
Definitely. And who knows if like you said, you have Brooklyn Nets resurging. Kyrie, James Harden, you better bet your top hat that James Harden watched Giannis's press conference, and he's motivated. This Brooklyn Nets team, I feel like they thought that they can coast because they had the most talent in the NBA. We thought we can just coast the entire NBA season, and then in the NBA playoffs, it'll all just come together. It'll just all fall into place. We saw that's not possible for this Nets team. I think next year they're going to come out a lot more serious, and we're going to see a really strong Brooklyn Nets team next season. And I also agree with you. I think that Anthony Davis and LeBron are going to be fully healthy. I think that if LeBron was fully healthy, even without AD, they could have beaten the Phoenix Suns. I don't think LeBron was 100% in that series against Phoenix, but you have LeBron and AD, and if Chris Paul even dares to join them, that's a juggernaut. That's not Milwaukee can't beat those 2 teams. So like you said, it's going to be a difficult road, but maybe not next year. But I think within the next 5 years, it's not out of the realm of possibility for Giannis to win another championship, and that could be in Milwaukee.
I hope it's in Milwaukee. Yeah, I agree. I mean, it's not. He just won one. It's not like a hot take to say that he get another one, but it certainly gets harder from here. That's all.
Exactly. I agree with you there. Yeah. So those are our 2 segments. One more segment left, and of course, that is our reflections of the show and the show's tenure. And it's crazy. I'm trying to take in this moment. You see us, we're wearing the suits, we're looking sharp. It's the finale. We have to come out fresh. Gotta come out clean. That's how it is. And it's crazy. I want to really thank Andrew Rabinowitz. He was the vice president of BTV when I was a sophomore in college. It was U Festival. So they have all the clubs outside. And I went over there, I walked over there and I saw Andrew Rabinowitz, and I was talking to him about, having that, making a sports show. I've always been intrigued with Stephen A. and Max, Skip Bayless. They're always yelling, always being, idiots on the show. It's always funny. I'm like, oh, it'd be cool if I could have one of those shows or whatever too. And, trying to get involved, trying to join an organization in college, of course. And, find an organization, do something meaningful, something that I kind of enjoyed. And, he took me right in, Andrew. And I fell in love with this. I fell in love when I started this, being on the set and talking about sports, debating sports, and connecting with you guys. I love sports. I think, you really get to connect with the everyday person. I think everyone, loves sports, and there's so many stories that you can get out of sports. And, it was great doing this. I started with Tyrone Gonzaga, Ian. He started, initially in my sophomore year. And then we moved to Sauce, who you've seen Sauce several times appear on this. And I've had other guests like Zion Baldwin, the biggest Bucks fan. We really should have had Z come on this show because Zion Baldwin, Z, is the biggest Milwaukee Bucks fan. when I had my radio show, I brought Z on my show and I was just roasting him completely because he thought the Bucks could win. I was like, there's no way they can win with Chris Middleton as your second option. Brooklyn and LA. Look how that bit me in the butt. But of course, junior year, having Ian Mills, Ian, it's been an absolute pleasure, having you on. And I'm really glad that you came on this show and, throughout, and obviously today too, it's like we started so late, like the finale, like typically you have the finale in like May or something when college ends, but I wasn't doing that, I didn't do it. But like, you can't, like sometimes you should do things earlier, but like, it's never too late. It's never too late to, do things. And Ian, it's been great having you, these past 2 or 3 years, you've grown, and like now you're, Fox 40, Ian Mills, Fox. I gotta hype up my boy a little bit. Fox 40, he's been working at Fox 40 for the past year. He now is the assistant editor of Pipe Dreams for the sports section. So Ian Mills is making a lot of progress, and it's been great having you on the show, and you meant a lot to me, throughout this show, and I'm very thankful.
Didn't realize I was muted. Yeah, no, I appreciate that. I mean, I a lot of what I'm doing now is thanks, like, due in part to Ballaholics. I got the job at Fox 40 through a connection through Ballaholics, and like now I'm a reporter for Fox 40, so it's cool. It's that's something. And then the Pipe Dream, that was all Sam. Sam was a writer for Pipe Dream, and he threw my name out there, and luckily it stuck. A lot of what I'm doing now
It wasn't lucky, but yeah.
Oh, I mean, it is what it is, but a lot of what I'm doing now is in part due to not just Sam, but Ballaholics in general, but mostly Sam. So I remember being kind of like a freshman, a similar situation, going to UFest and seeing BTB, and then going to a general interest meeting and talking to you about the sport, about Ballaholics, and coming on. I remember like Carbs, you had Carbs, you had Koosh, you had Brandon. We would have people on, and it'd be fun. It was one of those things where, like, I remember like the first time I was on, like I texted my dad and I was like, hey, I just did this thing. It was pretty cool. Like, it'd be cool if I could do this even more. And that's one of those things where it's like, you put yourself out there, you want to do something, you do it. Right. And that's something that not a lot of people do, but Sam, more than anyone, like at a school that doesn't have a communications degree, that doesn't really have anything like that, in a club that didn't have much content being put out, you were the juggernaut there. You did everything by yourself, really. And I mean, that's something to be proud of. Regardless of what comes from this, what has happened is something to cherish for the rest of your life, and just to be happy about that it did happen.
Exactly. Like you said it pretty well. Like when you do these shows, like you really do put yourself out there. I remember being very intimidated. First I had to start by starting my own show, like marketing, going on Instagram. You don't want to spam anyone. Like you're having fun. I literally had to. I met with Andrew. Talked to the e-board. Made the show, proposed the show idea, making the brand and everything. Ballaholics, a show for those who can't get enough about basketball. And like you said, I fell in love with it. Sophomore year, and then after that, obviously things got difficult with the pandemic hitting us and forcing us to go virtual. It's not by any means like the storybook ending. Like it'd be cool. It would have been cool to be in the studio. Have some cake or something in the studio, with everyone. Have some, the editors and everyone, here, and doing it in May. But it's not always going to be a storybook ending. Sometimes you just gotta do it. It's like Nike. You just gotta do it. And just reflecting a little bit on me. Being a kid who couldn't speak till he was 4, and being told like he wasn't going to public school, and now like doing like a sports talk show where like you're literally talking, like it's literally about speech. I love it. And like Ian said again, I just want to stress this point again, why I really love this. I think that sports is stories. I think that humans, like, we love storytelling. Like people, like, I think religion's a huge thing, due in part to stories. Religions are great for values, but they also tell stories behind the values. I think that sports too, and like history, for example, history is like stories too. Like you learn about this, history of everything. Like that's kind of a story. And I think sports serves the same purpose. I think that an outsider seeing Giannis dunk the ball, it's like, okay, he's just dunking the ball. Why is that? There's nothing from that. It doesn't seem like a big thing, but the story behind that, a kid from Greece, parents had nothing. going to the NBA, dunking the ball in the NBA, an MVP, bringing the bag home to his hometown, in Milwaukee, where he played, like the same team that drafted him. That's a story, like Kobe Bryant, the Mamba mentality. That's a story. Craig Sager fighting leukemia is a story. Jimmy Butler being raised when he's little without a father and playing with a ball, that's a story too. So what I love about sports is I love the stories, and I love how they can inspire people to be better people. And I love how you can use sports to connect with virtually anyone that follows the sports as well. So it's been great for me. Sports has been great for me. And I did BTV. I ended up after BTV and doing Ballaholics. Ian knows this. I became sports also on the radio at Binghamton University, WHRW. I was a radio host there. Did also kind of like my opinionated takes, taking you to the world of Sam's world, the Sam experience, I'd say. Worked at Pipe Dream in the sports section, and that was great. And Ian, I don't know if I told you, I think I told you this. And ESPN's former Binghamton alumni Tony Kornheiser shouted out one of my articles I covered on Pipe Dream, so that was a highlight for me, of course, and super humbling. From someone of that prestige, recognize that work is super humbling, and it meant a lot to me. And it's funny, it's like then became sports director. I was appointed sports director of WHRW radio station, keeping up with the Binghamton Rumble Ponies and the Binghamton Devils, all the relationships with the Binghamton public relations, David O'Brien and John Hartwick. They've always been great to work with, and they've always helped me out, getting the student athletes on, and sort of like for example, speaking with George Tinsley, who was the America East Rookie of the Year, or who's the other guy? I'm bugging out now. There was another player. Oh yeah, the Hartford head coach, the Hartford head coach John Gallagher, who actually I got to interview in a press conference, went on, of course, to literally shook hands with the winner of the NCAA, head coach from Baylor. So it's cool to see, the progress that I've had, and I've really enjoyed it. And it's crazy, I don't know what's gonna happen now. There's so much uncertainty now, I guess, and I've been applying to internships and stuff, and we'll see what happens in the future. But it's been a ride, Ian. It's been a hell of a ride.
Yeah, it's been a ride. It's been a great ride, and regardless, even if it's uncertain, I feel like the future is bright. You're talented, and you know what you're doing, and this is fun, and if more than anything, you know how to bring emotions out of people, and I think that's a very cool thing to have.
Yeah, of course, and I'm excited for you. You're taking on the legacy now. I'm off now. I'm at Binghamton. I'm not really sure where the future lies with you and BTV in particular, but I know that Pipe Dream, WHRW, Fox 40, you're gonna kill it wherever you go. And so you've been great, and you're keeping that grind up. And I wish you nothing but the best in the future. And like I'm always here, So
yeah, it's. I mean, if we look, this just because you already graduated, and congratulations to that on that. But whatever the future holds, maybe down the line we have a Ballaholics reunion. See where we're at in life, and I know you'll be doing great things, and hopefully I'll be in the same category. And it's another chapter. It's another chapter in life that's coming to a close. But that's not always a bad thing.
It's never a bad thing, Ian. I look forward to one day being on ESPN with you, having a primetime show, and then being able to roast your Buffalo Bills like every single day, and then you can hear about how much I suffer as a New York Knicks fan, day in and the day out. But the most important thing, of course, is at least Bobby Portis did not have to suffer. Former New York Knick, he won his chip. He won. He didn't suffer, Bobby Portis. I'm happy for that. I'm a major Bobby Portis fan.
Yeah,
I'm a major Bobby Portis fan. So shout out to Bobby Portis.
Go to some of the early Ballaholics episodes that I were in, some of the early ones I've been in, and I was praising Bobby Portis a year and a half ago. I said that he was the best player on the Knicks a year and a half ago, 2 seasons.
All right. Let's not be insulting to the New York Knicks franchise. I don't know if we were. I mean,
He was amazing. I loved him.
Yeah, I'm kidding around. I love Bobby Portis, and he's great. It's funny too. I think editing these, seeing if you watch like the beginning episodes of Ballaholics and then seeing the actual episodes progress in like quality, because like I self-taught myself, the editing software, Final Cut Pro, with the help of Brian Defries, of course, Sam Nesser were major parts in that. But learning Final Cut Pro myself, and then learning, the pandemic hit, and it's like, what do we do now, Ian? It's like, what do we do now? No
Yeah.
studio, no editing. We can't go to the computers to edit. Of course, I literally learned. I had to teach myself how to edit on OBS Studio, and I'm not an editor if you know me, but I did the best I could. I did the best I could, and I put the show on Spotify, and did the best I can, and I honestly I gave it all I had. And I think in anything you do in life, whoever's watching this, like if you put whatever you have into it, and like it works out, nice. And if it doesn't work out, like you put everything into it, so like it's not a problem. Never hold back, and follow your dreams. Don't settle. Don't settle. So many friends of mine, people I know, it's tough. You get the pressure of going into other things, business or finance or law, and that's cool. Like those are cool stuff, but I think those things can wait. The first thing is you got to follow your dream, and I think right now, being a sports talk show host on ESPN would be a dream of mine right now.
Yeah, I mean, if you want to do something, like I always just say, like, do it. Ask questions. Don't be afraid to ask questions. Just do it. You know what I mean? It's one of those things where in high school I wanted to do sports talking or work, news, and we did it. Now we're doing it. So I agree. I mean, follow your dreams, and if you want to do something, simply do it. You'll figure out the rest later.
Exactly. That was well said. All right, Mills. I think this is it. I think this is the finale for Ballaholics. You guys will be seeing me soon. Don't worry. I'll let you guys. I'll keep you guys updated on something else I might do. Maybe who knows? Maybe I'll make another show or something. We never know. But you guys have been with me. All you guys watching this from Binghamton University, whether you're a Binghamton University student, whether you randomly came across this YouTube video, whether you know me, family, friends, whoever, if Ian Mills or me, or just anyone, in general. Thank you guys so much for sticking with us and watching us throughout these years. It's meant a lot to me and Ian Mills. And I think for the last time, we're gonna sign off. Thank you guys so much for watching.
Thanks again.